Princess Lyra stood in the grand hall of the Silver Palace, her beautiful face full of anger and pride. The room was filled with the highest leaders of her alien empire, all watching her with cold eyes. She was the daughter of the emperor, known for her sharp mind and strong will. But today, she was not proud. Today, she was being punished. Lyra had broken a sacred law. She had spoken out against the empire's strict rules and refused to follow an order that she thought was unfair. Many had warned her to be quiet, but she believed she was right. Now, the price was clear. The emperor, her own father, spoke with a voice like thunder. "Princess Lyra, for your actions, you will be forced to marry a human." Gasps filled the hall. Humans were the oldest enemies of the empire. They were seen as simple, wild, and unworthy. No royal would ever marry a human. Until now, it was a punishment worse than exile. Lyra's heart burned with shame and anger. "You cannot be serious," she cried. "A human? That is a joke." The emperor's eyes were cold. "This is no joke. This is your punishment. You will marry Captain Alex Morgan, a human from Earth. You will leave the palace and live among his people. This will teach you respect and obedience." The court was silent. Lyra's mind raced. She could not imagine her life with a human. The thought was unbearable. That night, alone in her chambers, Lyra stared out at the stars. Her homeworld sparkled in the distance, so far away now. She felt trapped, like a bird in a golden cage. She had never been so powerless. Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, Captain Alex Morgan prepared for his new mission. He was a skilled pilot and explorer, respected by his crew and friends. But he had no idea that his next journey would change his life forever. He was about to meet a princess, an alien princess, and become part of something much bigger than he imagined. The day of the meeting arrived. Lyra was dressed in royal clothes, shining with jewels and fine fabric. She felt like a prisoner in her own dress. When she met Alex for the first time, she saw a man who was simple but confident. His eyes were kind and curious. Alex offered a polite smile. "Princess Lyra, it is an honor to meet you." Lyra forced herself to respond, but her heart was cold. "I did not ask for this," she said quietly. "This marriage is a punishment, not an honor." Alex nodded slowly. "I understand. But maybe together, we can find a way to make this work." Lyra looked away. She was not ready to believe him. As they prepared to leave the palace, the eyes of the empire were on them. This marriage was not just about two people. It was a message that even a princess could be broken. But Lyra vowed in her heart, she would not be broken. She would survive. And one day, she would find a way to turn this punishment into her own power. The spaceship landed softly on the edge of the human colony. The stars twinkled in the dark sky above, but the air was thick with tension. Princess Lyra stepped off the ship, her royal robes brushing the dusty ground. She glanced around, feeling far from the glittering halls of her home planet. Captain Alex Morgan was waiting. He stood tall and relaxed, wearing his simple uniform. His eyes met hers, calm and steady. Despite the distance between their worlds, this moment was the beginning of something new, whether they liked it or not. "Welcome to Earth, Princess Lyra," Alex said with a respectful nod. Lyra's lips pressed into a thin line. "Thank you, Captain. I hope this place is better than I imagine." Alex smiled lightly. "It's not a palace, but it's home to many good people." Lyra looked around. The colony was small but busy. People moved quickly, fixing machines and planting gardens. The buildings were simple but strong. It was a world very different from her own. As they walked through the colony, Alex explained the basics. "This is a farming community. We grow food and share what we have. Life here is hard, but honest." Lyra frowned. It seemed so ordinary. Alex shrugged. "Maybe. But sometimes ordinary is better than fancy." Lyra was silent for a moment. She was used to luxury and power, but here, everything was practical and straightforward. She wasn't sure if she would ever fit in. That evening, they entered the small house where they would live together. It was modest. 2 rooms, simple furniture, and a kitchen that smelled of fresh bread. Lyra touched the wooden table, amazed by how different it was from the smooth metal surfaces of her palace. "I don't understand why I must live like this," she said softly. "This is punishment. I feel trapped." Alex looked at her with sympathy. "I know this isn't easy, but maybe this is a chance to learn from each other." Lyra met his gaze but did not answer. Her pride was strong, and she was not ready to lower her guard. The next days were difficult. Lyra found it hard to adjust to human life. The simple food tasted strange. The small rooms felt crowded, and the quiet nights made her feel lonely. She missed the noise and lights of her home. Alex tried to help. He showed her how to grow plants in the small garden and shared stories about Earth's history and people. Slowly, Lyra began to see that humans were not as simple as her people said. They were clever, resilient, and kind in their own way. One afternoon, a young girl from the colony came to visit. She smiled brightly and offered Lyra a handmade flower crown. "Welcome to Earth. I hope you will like it here." Lyra was surprised by the kindness. For the first time, she smiled back. "Thank you." That small moment stayed with her. Maybe this new life, though hard, was not only punishment. Maybe it was the start of something different. As the sun set over the quiet fields, Lyra looked at Alex and wondered if she could ever truly trust him. But deep inside, a small part of her hoped for peace. And maybe even friendship. Days passed quickly in the human colony. Princess Lyra tried to follow the routines, but every step was a struggle. The customs of Earth were strange to her, and the people's ways were very different from what she was used to. One morning, Lyra joined the community's morning meeting. The humans talked openly, shared ideas, and even joked. To Lyra, this was shocking. In her empire, such meetings were formal and controlled, with strict rules about what could be said. When Lyra tried to speak, some of the humans looked surprised. They were not used to royalty, or to someone so different from them. Lyra's voice was firm, but her words felt out of place. After the meeting, a few colonists approached her. "You seem strong," said an older man, "but you could learn to smile more. It makes people trust you." Lyra frowned. "Smiling is not a rule in my culture. It is serious business." The man laughed gently. "Here, smiles build bridges." Lyra thought about this as she walked back to her home. She realized that the human's way of living was based on trust and honesty, not power or fear. It was both strange and freeing. At the same time, not everyone was kind. Some colonists whispered behind her back, "She's an alien princess, but she acts like she's better than us," they said. Alex noticed the tension. One evening, he sat down with Lyra. "People are unsure about you. They don't understand you yet." Lyra crossed her arms. "I don't want them to understand me. I just want to return home." Alex shook his head. "You're here now. You can make a choice. Be angry or try to live." Lyra was silent. She wanted to leave, but a small voice inside told her to try. That night, Lyra dreamt of her palace. The bright lights and soft music called to her, but so did the quiet voices of the humans. She felt torn between 2 worlds. The next day, Lyra and Alex visited the local market. The colors, smells, and sounds were overwhelming. Lyra saw people selling fresh fruits, tools, and handmade clothes. She watched children laughing and playing. Alex explained, "This is our daily life. It's simple but real." Suddenly, a young boy bumped into Lyra and dropped a basket of fruit. He looked scared. Lyra's heart softened. Instead of anger, she smiled and helped him pick up the fruit. The boy smiled back, surprised. Alex watched quietly. "See, you're already part of this world." Lyra felt something new. a small hope that maybe this life was not so bad. But the challenges were still there. Her alien court sent messages, demanding she return. Her people called her weak for living among humans. Lyra's pride hurt, but she began to understand that strength was not only about power. It was also about patience and courage. As night fell, she looked at Alex. He was not just a human to punish her. He was someone who could help her find a new way. Life in the small house was growing harder for Princess Lyra. The days were long and the nights were quiet, too quiet for someone used to the busy halls of a palace. But she had no choice. She had to live with Captain Alex Morgan, the human she had been forced to marry. At first, every moment felt uncomfortable. They argued over small things: how to cook food, how to keep the house clean, even how to sleep. Lyra's royal habits clashed with Alex's simple ways. She wanted things perfect and grand. He wanted things practical and easy. One morning, Alex woke up early and found Lyra sitting outside, staring at the sunrise. The colors painted the sky in pinks and oranges, a sight she had never cared to watch before. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Alex said softly. Lyra didn't answer. She was lost in her thoughts. Alex sat beside her and said, "We don't have to be enemies, Lyra. We're stuck together, so why not try to understand each other?" Lyra looked at him, surprised by his kindness. She wanted to believe him, but her pride held her back. Suddenly, alarms rang through the colony. A warning. A storm was coming, stronger than any before. The people hurried to prepare. Alex and Lyra rushed to secure the house and help the neighbors. The storm hit hard. Winds tore through the fields and rain flooded the streets. In the chaos, a tree fell near their house, blocking the door. They were trapped inside together. For hours, they worked side by side, moving furniture, clearing debris, and helping each other. Lyra saw Alex's strength and calm in danger. Alex noticed Lyra's quick thinking and courage. When the storm passed, the colony was damaged, but everyone was safe. The people thanked Alex and Lyra for their help. That night, as they sat by the small fire, Lyra finally spoke. "I did not want to live this life. But today, I saw something new. You and your people are strong in ways I did not understand." Alex smiled. "We all have strength, Lyra. Sometimes it just looks different." The storm had forced them to depend on each other. For the first time, Lyra felt a small spark of respect for Alex. He was not just a simple human. He was brave and kind. In the days that followed, they worked together to rebuild the colony. Lyra helped organize food supplies, and Alex repaired broken machines. Their cooperation made life easier for everyone. Slowly, the house became less a prison and more a home. Lyra found herself laughing at Alex's jokes and sharing stories from her childhood. Though she still missed her world, Lyra began to see that this punishment was also a chance to grow and to learn. One evening, as the stars shone above, Lyra looked at Alex and thought, maybe this marriage is not only punishment. Maybe it is something more. Life on the colony was slowly changing for Princess Lyra. The days were still busy and sometimes hard, but she no longer felt completely out of place. Captain Alex Morgan had become more than just the man she was forced to marry. He was someone she could learn from. One morning, Alex invited Lyra to join him on a small exploration outside the colony. They walked through a forest of tall trees, the sunlight filtering through the leaves. Birds sang softly, and the air smelled fresh. "This is one of my favorite places," Alex said with a smile. "It reminds me that the universe is bigger than any empire or battle." Lyra looked around, surprised by the calm beauty. She had spent her life in palaces and spaceships, surrounded by metal and lights. Here, nature was alive and simple. As they walked, Alex told her stories about Earth, the mountains, the oceans, and the people who lived there. His words were filled with passion and respect for life. Lyra listened carefully. She had never heard anyone speak with such love for their home. It made her wonder about her own planet and what she had been missing. When they reached a small river, Alex sat down and looked at her. "You've been strong, Lyra. Stronger than I expected." Lyra raised an eyebrow. "Why would you say that?" "Because you haven't given up. You've faced hard things and still keep going. That's real strength." Lyra felt a strange warmth inside. She had always thought strength was about power and control. But maybe it was something more. For the first time, she shared a secret with Alex, a dream she had kept hidden. She told him about her hope for a better future, not just for herself, but for her people and humans too. Alex listened without judgment. "I believe in that future, Lyra. Maybe together, we can make it happen." Their friendship grew stronger with every step. Lyra found herself smiling more, laughing at Alex's jokes, and feeling less alone. But not everything was easy. Some nights, she still felt the weight of her punishment and the pressure from her empire. She wondered if she would ever be truly free. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Alex asked, "What do you miss most?" Lyra thought carefully. "I miss feeling important. I miss knowing who I am." Alex nodded. "You're important, Lyra. Not because of your title, but because of who you are inside." Lyra looked at him, her eyes shining with new hope. She began to see that maybe her worth was not tied to her royal status, but to her courage and kindness. As the stars appeared in the sky, Lyra felt a change within herself. She was no longer just a princess punished by fate. She was someone ready to face the future, no matter what it held. The days grew longer, and the small human colony began to feel less like a prison and more like a place where Princess Lyra could breathe. Though she still missed her home among the stars, there was something new inside her, a small spark of hope and curiosity. One afternoon, Alex took Lyra on a journey to a nearby valley known for its natural beauty. The valley was full of wildflowers, soft green grass, and a river that sang as it flowed over smooth stones. The sunlight warmed the earth, and the air was filled with the scent of blooming plants. Lyra walked quietly beside Alex, her eyes wide with wonder. She had never seen anything like this on her home planet. The life here was raw and free, without the strict rules and cold halls she was used to. Alex pointed to a butterfly resting on a flower. "Everything here has a purpose. Even the smallest things matter." Lyra watched the butterfly flutter away and felt a strange peace in her heart. For the first time, she understood that there was beauty in simplicity. As they walked along the river, Alex told stories of his adventures, flying through space, discovering new planets, and meeting different peoples. His voice was full of excitement and joy. Lyra found herself smiling, caught by his enthusiasm. "You love your work," she said softly. "I do," Alex replied. "But I also love finding new friends and learning from them." Lyra looked at him carefully. "Friends?" Alex nodded. "Yes, we don't have to be enemies just because we come from different worlds." Lyra's heart raced. She had spent so long feeling anger and bitterness that the idea of friendship felt strange, almost impossible. That night, as the stars shone outside their small home, Lyra sat quietly, thinking about the day. She realized that Alex had opened her eyes to a new way of seeing the universe, one where people from different places could come together, learn, and grow. Over the next few weeks, Lyra and Alex spent more time exploring the valley, talking under the stars, and sharing stories. Their bond grew stronger, moving from cold respect to genuine warmth. One evening, Alex showed Lyra how to play a simple human game. They laughed as they competed, their earlier tensions forgotten in moments of joy. Lyra felt a new feeling, not just respect or friendship, but something deeper, a connection that crossed worlds and cultures. She looked at Alex and saw not just the human she had been forced to marry, but a partner, someone who had helped her find pleasure in life again. For the first time since her punishment began, Lyra felt hopeful about the future. Maybe this marriage was not a curse but a new beginning. As the moon rose, Lyra whispered to herself, "Maybe this is where I belong." The peace of the colony was broken one quiet morning when alarms blared across the small settlement. Princess Lyra and Captain Alex Morgan looked at each other with alarm. A hostile alien fleet, known for attacking human worlds and opposing Lyra's empire, was approaching fast. The colony had no defenses strong enough to face such a force. Panic spread quickly among the people. Lyra felt her heart pounding. She had never imagined she would face danger like this on Earth. Alex took charge. "We must prepare to protect everyone. We may not win easily, but we will fight together." Lyra nodded, her fear mixing with determination. This was no longer just about punishment or culture. It was about survival. Together, they organized the colonists, setting up shelters and securing supplies. Lyra used her knowledge of alien technology to help strengthen the colony's weak defenses. Alex coordinated the human fighters, sharing strategies from his military experience. As the enemy ships arrived, the sky filled with dark shades. Laser fire lit up the horizon. The battle was fierce. The colony shook as explosions rocked the ground. Lyra and Alex fought side by side, their earlier differences forgotten. Lyra's sharp mind and knowledge of alien tactics gave them an edge. Alex's bravery and quick decisions kept the fighters united. During the fight, Lyra saved a young child from falling debris, her heart pounding. Alex covered her as they escaped a dangerous blast. They moved together, protecting each other like a true team. The battle lasted hours, but the colony held strong. The attackers retreated, unable to break the unity and courage of the people. After the battle, the colony was damaged but safe. The people cheered for Lyra and Alex, seeing them not as strangers but as heroes. Lyra felt a mix of exhaustion and pride. She looked at Alex, who smiled wearily but proudly. "We did it," he said. "Yes," Lyra replied. "Together." That night, as the colony recovered, Lyra thought deeply about everything she had learned. The humans were not weak or simple. They were brave, loyal, and strong. She realized that her punishment had brought her closer to true strength, not the power of a crown, but the power to protect and stand with others. Alex and Lyra sat together, watching the stars. Their bond had grown into something real and unbreakable. Lyra whispered, "Maybe this marriage was not punishment after all. Maybe it was fate." The attack on the colony had changed everything. The people who once looked at Princess Lyra with suspicion now saw her in a new light. She was no longer just an alien princess forced into a strange marriage. She was a protector, a leader, and a friend. Lyra felt the weight of their eyes and expectations, but no longer feared them. She had grown stronger, not because of her royal blood, but because of her actions. One morning, as the sun rose over the repaired colony, Lyra stood beside Alex. Together, they looked out over the fields, green and growing again after the storm and battle. Alex turned to her. "You've changed, Lyra. I see a new strength in you, one I never expected." Lyra smiled softly. "And you have taught me much about courage and kindness. I am beginning to understand what it means to live with others, not above them." Alex reached out and took her hand gently. "We are stronger together, not just as a couple, but as people from different worlds." Lyra felt warmth spread through her chest. For the first time, she did not feel like a prisoner. She felt like a partner. The days that followed were filled with work and laughter. Lyra helped teach the children about her culture, sharing stories of stars and distant planets. The children listened with wide eyes, fascinated by her tales. In return, Alex showed Lyra the simple joys of human life, cooking meals over an open fire, watching the stars without the palace lights, and dancing with the colonists during their festivals. Lyra found herself laughing freely, something she had not done in a long time. One evening, as the colony gathered to celebrate the end of the harvest season, Lyra stood beside Alex, dressed not in royal robes, but in a simple dress made by the colonists. She looked around at the smiling faces, humans and aliens together, united by friendship and hope. A colonist approached and said, "Princess Lyra, you have become one of us." Lyra nodded, her eyes shining. "I have learned that strength is not just in blood or power, but in love and respect." Alex squeezed her hand. "And that is a future worth fighting for." As the music played and the stars shone bright above, Lyra felt a deep peace. Her punishment had led her to a new life, one filled with unexpected joy and belonging. She knew the road ahead would not always be easy, but with Alex and her new friends by her side, she was ready to face anything. The days grew warmer, and the colony was full of life. Princess Lyra no longer felt like a prisoner or a stranger. She had found a new place in the world, one filled with friendship, trust, and surprising happiness. One afternoon, Lyra sat with Alex under the shade of a large tree. The gentle breeze carried the scent of flowers, and birds sang softly. It was peaceful, a quiet moment away from the challenges they faced. Alex smiled at her. "You seem different lately. Happier." Lyra laughed softly. "I am. I never thought I could feel this way." "What changed?" Alex asked. Lyra thought for a moment. "I have learned to find pleasure in simple things. The warmth of the sun, the sound of laughter, the kindness of friends. These are gifts I never had before." Alex reached out and took her hand. "I'm glad you found them. You deserve happiness." Lyra looked into his eyes and saw honesty and care. For the first time, she felt safe to let her guard down. That evening, as the stars began to twinkle, they walked through the fields together. Lyra noticed the softness of the grass beneath her feet and the coolness of the night air. They stopped by a small pond, its surface reflecting the moonlight. Alex took her hand again and said, "I know this marriage was not what either of us wanted at first, but I hope it can be more than just a punishment." Lyra smiled, her heart full. "It already is." As days turned into weeks, their connection deepened. They shared stories, dreams, and hopes. Lyra found joy in their conversations and comfort in Alex's presence. One evening, during a quiet moment by the fire, Alex told Lyra a story from his childhood, about how his family valued kindness and courage above all else. Lyra listened, feeling the warmth she had never known. She realized that pleasure was not just about comfort or ease. It was about feeling connected, understood, and loved. The colony noticed the change too. The people saw a new light in Lyra's eyes, a light that came from genuine happiness. Lyra knew that this was just the beginning. The road ahead would have challenges, but she no longer feared them. With Alex by her side, she was ready to face whatever came next. Together, they had turned punishment into pleasure, loneliness into companionship, and fear into hope. The day had come for Princess Lyra and Captain Alex Morgan to return to her empire. The once forced marriage was now a strong partnership, built on trust, respect, and deep understanding. As they prepared to leave the colony behind, Lyra felt a mixture of emotions: sadness, hope, and excitement. The people of the colony gathered to say goodbye. Their faces showed gratitude and warmth. Lyra smiled and waved, feeling a connection she never expected to find so far from home. Alex stood beside her, calm and confident. "Are you ready?" he asked gently. Lyra nodded. "I am. I want to face my future, not as a punished princess, but as someone who has found her own strength." The journey back was quiet but full of meaning. Lyra looked out the window at the stars, thinking about everything she had learned. She had come as a prisoner, but was leaving as a leader. When they arrived at the imperial palace, the court was waiting. Some looked skeptical, others curious. The empire expected a broken princess, but they would find something different. Lyra stepped forward with her head held high. "I have returned not to beg forgiveness, but to bring a new hope," she said. "Together, humans and aliens can build a better future." Her words surprised many. Alex stood proudly by her side, a symbol of unity between two worlds. Over the following weeks, Lyra worked to change old rules and open new paths. She shared stories of Earth, of kindness and courage. Slowly, the Empire began to listen. The marriage that started as punishment became a bridge between cultures. Humans and aliens began to understand each other, working together for peace and progress. Lyra and Alex led by example. Their bond showed that respect and love could grow even in the hardest circumstances. One evening, as the sun set over the palace gardens, Lyra and Alex stood hand in hand. The future was uncertain, but they faced it together. Lyra smiled and whispered, "We turned punishment into power. Together, we are stronger." Alex squeezed her hand gently. "And this is just the beginning." The stars shone brightly above, lighting the way for a new era, one where hope, friendship, and courage would guide two worlds toward a shared destiny.